Hello everyone, this is a recap round number 4 in the match between Ding and Gukesh for the World Champion title. Right now score even 1.5 and 1.5. Today I'm without my co-host Vladimir, who decided that sales on Black Friday are way more important than our video, but let's begin. As you probably remember, Ding actually lost round number 3, pretty tough loss with black pieces. He got into some opening prep and wasted a lot of time, and even though the position was totally fine, he managed to screw it up. So let's see how he really recovered. In round number 2, playing with white pieces, he started with e4. Right here he chose another approach, which is knight f3. The game, by the way, was pretty boring, but as Magnus said, that there were resources to play for a win, and I myself would continue playing for a win if I was on Ding's place, because I mean, why not? You're playing with white pieces, you don't really risk to lose. But right here, knight f3, d5, e3, knight f6. Why let's say e3? Because probably Ding doesn't want to go to the main lines, and we'll see his intentions later. So e3 was played, trying to open up the bishop. Gukesh responded with knight f6, and normally people play this opening with an idea to continue c4. That's the most aggressive way to fight for an advantage. There are many possibilities, like DC transferring to Queen's Gambit accepted, e6, we could go into regular Queen's Gambit, going for c6. There were some like really interesting games right here, but Ding choosing b3, and I really regret that Vladimir is not with us today, because this is the opening that he plays and thinks it's one of the greatest creations in the universe, probably. I disagree. So because right here basically white doesn't have any advantage, but the idea is that we want to fianchet to the bishop, to b2, to a3, as the game will show, and try to finish our development pretty normally. The best response right here, bishop f5, and Gukesh after some thinking responded right here, and normally people here go bishop b2. Right here bishop e2 was also played. Idea is that if e6 ever gonna happen, there will be knight h4 move, trapping the bishop absolutely, and we can have a bishop pair advantage. That's the reason why Gukesh tries to play h6, opening up the square for the bishop just in case of this assassination attack. And right here, I mean, it's not a novelty, but bishop a3 came quite unexpectedly, because normally bishop b2 is the move, but as Ding said during the press conference, which was as boring as the game itself, that, I mean, it looks like Queen's Indian defense, but reversed. Only right now he plays with white pieces, usually he plays with black pieces, but right here he has an extra tempo, so why not to play it? The idea is that right now black can barely play e6, because after rate castle is broken, so it's not possible to castle normally. That's the reason why Gukesh, after taking some time, he plays knight b d7, and after castle e6 was played, with an idea that right now knight will do all the dirty work, then go back, and the king is able to castle pretty easily. And so far it repeats a few GM games. One of them was with Elianov with white piece, the second one was So playing, I don't remember exactly against whom, maybe Giri, but I cannot say really for sure. And right here, what happened in other GM games, it was like something like d4, later try to go queen c1, and slowly try to push pawns on the queen side, grabbing more and more space, like queen b2, a3, b4, c5. Not very easy to make progress, but it's been tried. In some games it worked perfectly fine. For Wesley Saw in the rapid game on the chat.com, it didn't work out very well. But right here Ding plays CD, and I'm surprised how much time Ding takes right here. If you go right here, like he hasn't spent much time really. After e6 he takes pretty quickly, c4 he plays pretty quickly, and Gukesh responded the most like natural moves in the position, and he started thinking for 20 minutes. It's your prep, come on dude, like what is this? I don't know, like really, guys who prepare Ding for the match are really strange. First of all, the range between openings is really huge, but everywhere like he doesn't get anything from the opening, not even like good chances, honestly speaking. So yeah, after castle, Ding takes some time. He plays CD, ED, and B4. This is a common idea in different structures. Sometimes the bishop can be on G3 in such structures, again, transposing to some other lines. But the idea of B4 move is to stop C5, not let black fight for the center, and also what's important, establish the knight to D4, where he will be in the center, controlling lots of squares, attack the bishop, and potentially later we can play even F4, kind of creating some sort of blockade, and our knight will be out of reach. Also, we can use open C file, also we can develop to B3, provoke C6, later there will be B5 opportunity, so that's generally the plan. C6 happened, knight d4, actually queen b3 may be a little bit more precise because it's a bit more tricky, because right now we're threatening b5 and c5 will not be an option because the pawn is hanging, so black would have to do something, and a6, let's say, create some weaknesses and we can try to infiltrate, and Gukesh would probably have to find knight e4, which is the most reliable way to continue trying to trade off pieces, keeping in mind that b5 is not easy to play. But after some d3 takes, it would be some reverse Sicilian setup, probably not many chances for white to win this game, but maybe it was worth trying. In the game, knight d4 happened instead, bishop h7 and queen b3 right now. Right here, I don't know how Ding prepared at playing all the natural moves. He's down on time, but I mean, it's not the first time when he's behind in time in this match already. Knight e5 happens, it came as a surprise, and as you can see, Gukesh spent 20 minutes on this move. Idea is that kind of wanna probably pull f4 move, because if f4 gonna happen, as he said, like knight d7 and a5 somewhere is an idea, undermining the pawn chain and trying to infiltrate with the knight later on. Plus somewhere there will be knight c4 and knight d3 jumps, as we will see later. But Ding didn't dare to go there, because again, he didn't like this a5 undermining maneuver, which totally kills his counterplay on the queen side. And also Gukesh said that he wants to play b6 c5 later on, so he kind of protects the pawn as well. Knight is centralized. a4 was played. Gukesh responds with rook c8, pretty logical in case of b5 to have this move. And right now, for example, f4 seems really nice, kicking away the knight. If knight goes back, we can play a5, maybe somewhere we can play b5, and everything goes according to the plan. But there is a knight c4 move, and right here it seems like a dumb pawn sacrifice, but after a5 it turns out that it's very hard to play, because of bishop d3 threat if the knight kicked away, because right now we undermine the pawn chain, and after it there is a fork. And if ba, then c5 comes and bishop d3 is unstoppable, which leads to pretty unpleasant consequences. That's the reason why Ding plays a5, grabbing more space. Somewhere a6 is available, but again, as Gukesh said, he planned to play b6, c5, so he goes for it. And right here, I mean, am I surprised? Not what happened in the game, but is it like weird to me as a chess player? Yes, because in the game, Ding right here, after thinking, played knight f3, basically offering a draw, because he trades pieces, as you will see later, and as you probably know, the game ended in a draw. But this is like pretty, I don't know, not a covered, of course, approach, but I don't know, looks like he's scared to play any, I don't know, aggressive continuations, go for any pressure in play, because there were at least two options how he could try to fight for some advantage. Because if you play for white, you need to appreciate the scholar, you need to try to do everything to win, and so far we can see that preparation for Ding doesn't work very well. He doesn't play like super main solid repertoire, he rather choosing one game options, and Gukesh actually did the same, let's say in the round number 3, but it worked out for him. So, what was better to do? First option, of course, comes to mind bishop a6, attacking the rook, because then this pawn will be weak, so rook has to go to c7 defending it, and right now already f4 is very interesting because it provokes Gukesh to make some mistake. Because, for example, knight c4 that worked before, right now doesn't work that well any longer, because after bishop takes, and queen takes c4, c5, here comes brilliant knight cb5 with an idea that we pulled up the rook, and right now this rook is on a vulnerable square where we can target it, and after taking this knight we will take the rook and win material. So after rook d7 takes queen c5, we got advantage, so it doesn't work, and it's a pretty good bait. Knight d3, which also looks tempting after AB, knight e2. This knight is not feeling all right, and actually it's trapped. Probably black had to play, would have to play b5, closing the bishop, but after taking, we reach this position where we have 3 pawns and the rook for 2 pieces, which is fine. Engine gives slight advantage for white if we don't go too deep into the woods, and I mean, you don't risk to lose right here with white pieces. And the best way is to play knight g6, which I don't know, you can disagree with me, but for me it wouldn't be obvious to place the knight right here where he is blocking the bishop, with an idea later play knight h5, knight f5 to trade off the knight. So it's like, I mean, not easy to find and trade here, like, yeah, after we reach such position, it's still complex, and it's around equal, but, like, to lift it, I mean, not easy, and at least it's worth calculating. I haven't heard any word about it during the press conference, as if it didn't exist. And every time I, like, open it to listen to some smart thoughts, I don't know, not that much action going on, and many, like, very interesting, promising lines being just put aside. Another opportunity was AB, open up the file, because we are kings right here and we're controlling everything. And right now play f4, and right now knight c4 is already valid, because in c5 idea would work because our rook is not on c7 as it used to be before. But after rook a2, defending the pawn on d2, because black was threatening the pawn capture, c5 and knight f3, it's not easy to play for black again, because queen d6 seems logical, but after BC, here comes, okay, you can stop the video and find tactics, but here comes knight d5, destroying the defender, very typical tactics, and queen c5 splits up the pawn, and this is strategically a weakness, and even though it's still around equality, it's unpleasant to play for black, in my opinion. Queen e7 is another opportunity, but still, actually right now BC leads to the trouble after blow money knight e3 sacrifice, with an idea of getting this position and capitalize on the fork, and use like overload of all these pieces. So this is really nasty surprise. So that's the reason why right here white needs to find king h1, prophylaxis against this terrifying idea. And right now we still threatening knight d5 idea. It's like never going anywhere. And after queen c5 the same problems. Yeah, it's not much, but it's like fight and show must go on. Instead, Ding said, I didn't want to like complicate things, I lost the game before, so let's try to trade everything. And right here I even had a feeling that Gukesh a little bit presses, but obviously there is nothing happening, so like it's a massive trade-off. I don't even understand why they were playing for so long, whether it's a 30 move rule or 40 move rule when you cannot agree for a draw, but this is all ended with like threefold repetition. And the game pretty boring. I don't know what's boring, round number 2 or round number 4, but like it's some sort of food for thought for the Dean's team, because he doesn't get any advantage and he plays the lines that are not challenging. If we look at what Gukesh did in the round number 3, he played the line that kind of provokes an opponent to make a mistake. It's challenging. Right here, Gukesh, by playing the most natural moves that like almost anybody would play in Blitz, equalizes, and Ding not trying to like outplay somehow, he's not trying anything, and with such attitude, how like you wanna win? I wait until Gukesh will mess up with preparation, go for some like complicated position and you'll win him, maybe, of course. And I don't know, it's like matches of Ding, kind of mystery for me sometimes. But okay, tell me what you think about this game. What do you expect from the game number 5? Will Gukesh again prepare something new and fresh? I'm pretty sure that he will. And can Ding stand the chance in this match? Because so far, psychologically, I would say that Gukesh is far ahead. See you in next episode then. Goodbye.